for you at the TUC?
Thank you very much, Andrew. And if I just say yes, it's a concern, that would be an understatement. An understatement in the sense that Nigerians are actually passing through a lot at this time. And let me start by appreciating Nigerians and their resilience, and to let Nigerians know that Labour feels their pains, Labour share their pains, because we buy from the same market, we all join the same transport, we all live in the same environment, we all exposed to the same risks and hazards that you have carefully enumerated. It is sad, it is quite sad. It's a situation that Labour is almost, I won't say we are challenged at this time, because we've got to a point where we need to now deploy our union might to begin to ensure or to compel the government and those in authority to do the needful, because they are relaxing, because with all this that is happening, the cost of governance is increasing by the day. The kind of larger kind of their lifestyle is not a demonstration that indeed we all live in the same country, to the extent that they have even introduced use of dollar because they have access to dollar. You and I know, you didn't talk about the cashless society and then the non-availability of cash, even for Nigerians to do their daily transactions. But these guys move around with mints. They go to events, occasions with mints, and you begin to wonder, are we all in this same country? A country where some people are not even able to afford 1 square meal. People wake up in the morning, they are hopeless. They don't know where the next meal will come from. The same country is a country where you now see one politician displaying wealth, so much wealth, to the extent that you begin to wonder whether they even, like you rightly asked, do they see these things? Yes, they do, but they care less, because they believe that they have conquered Nigerians. They believe that because they have conquered Nigerians, they can treat Nigerians at their beck and call the way they want.
But I mean, we're seeing Nigerians complain. I mean, I just mentioned the protest to some Nigerians in Osun State, and some people already say it might not take too long. It will begin to get out of hand. It will get to other states, because let's take River State for instance. I was still talking about why fish is expensive, how Gary is expensive in River State. Why on earth? Why, for any reason, should Gary be expensive? We have a government. We have Commissioner for Agriculture. We have the land. We have the raw material. We have a factory that was even a cassava plant that was built. I don't know. You still cannot put your head together and say, okay, is it that you people are blind to see that if you fix this and make this work, you've solved the part of the problem? If you fix for the TUC, what is the TUC looking at doing about it? Because for Nigerians now, it seems as though the one way to get the government would be through these bodies and organizations. But even for Labour, many Nigerians no longer even feel very confident.
You're correct to an extent, because remember I was in this studio some time ago when we analyzed all this, and we enumerated what Labour have done up to this time, the pressure we have applied to even get the little we've got. The palliative, you remember, we discussed.
How well with that palliative? Because
exactly,
we were upset and did not even want the palliative.
I'm going to talk about it.
So I'm going to talk about it. Look at the situation. How effective was that?
Thank you very much. You see, you get to a point where you push a man to the wall and he doesn't have any other place to run to. That's where Labour is now. As you are aware, we've issued a 14 days ultimatum to federal government.
Exactly. This is the pause. This is what Nigerians don't want to hear.
Just
hold on.
Yes.
I'm trying to make you see. This is what Nigerians don't want to hear anymore. Yeah. Don't you think? I mean, remember when we had the conversation the last time, and Labour had said, it was even because of our push that we haven't seen this palliative.
Yeah.
And Nigerians said, this palliative is not it, we don't want it. Nigerians said, we don't want it. Labour said, well, it was our push. Now, we're still back to square one. And Nigerians had said from the beginning, don't take this. If you want to shut down, shut down. Let's all know that we are suffering. shut down. Labour didn't. And now Labour has come with the same pattern. You're talking about a ultimatum. It was the same ultimatum you gave before you went and we got palliative, and it seemed like it's the same cycle.
So thank you very much, Andrew. You are very correct. Don't forget that prior to 2nd October 2023, a lot happened. There was a lot of build-up that eventually culminated into a signed communique of 15 points that government was supposed to embark on. And the process to manage or to monitor the execution of the communique, the items in that communique, was put in place. Did
Labour believe that the government was going to implement
we
that?
Believed because the president of the country committed. Why should we distrust the president, commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Is this the first time the president of a country was committing to such agreements and then it was not fulfilled?
For the benefit
in this country, it's not the first time.
No, it's not the first time.
So why would you have believed that? Because Nigerians also, again, I would always go back because we had the conversation before.
Yeah.
Nigerians again said to Labour, don't agree to this thing. It will not work.
Thank you very much. Now we have given them that benefit of doubt because Mr. President mentioned that we should give him a benefit of doubt that the communique will be implemented. In fact, Andrew, we are sad to the extent that ordinary visit, joint visit, which we discussed here, to happen in the refinery that they promised, Port Harcourt refinery, they promised will come on stream 31st December. By 2nd October, a joint inspection was to be carried out between a tripartite inspection. Andrew, as we speak, that inspection has not happened. In the same country, the president of the country will travel for international event with over 1,000 participants that don't have anything to do with the so-called event. So we are happy today that we've given that benefit of doubt to Mr. President, and now he has not lived up to expectation. We don't have trust anymore. We cannot come now and trust him anymore because how do you want us to trust him? And so that is why we have reviewed now. We have reviewed now, and we have said, look, 14 days. If you are not able to implement in full, 100%, what we have in that communique, we will begin to deploy our union.
Mr. Onyefuru, this is my question.
Yes, please.
This particular ultimatum, right? This was a communique that was agreed upon.
Yep.
And you got the word of the president,
yes.
like you said.
Yes.
How many months passed?
October 2nd.
Was it precisely fulfilled?
No.
So why would it be fulfilled in 14 days?
Exactly what we are saying.
Is the 14 days? So the question from many Nigerians is the 14 days ultimatum necessary before Labour takes action?
It is. Don't forget that we have rules of engagement. If you want to embark on a protest, there are procedures to do that. If you want to embark on an indefinite strike, which is different from a protest, there are rules of engagements. Now, we cannot, just because politicians, leaders are doing what is wrong, then we also embark on a journey to also do what is wrong. So we have looked at it end to end, and we have complied with the necessary statutory requirements such that when we start our action after 2 weeks, nobody will fault us. Nobody will go to any court and say, oh, Labour did not comply to this or Labour did not comply to that.
But why would they fault Labour for not complying when the agreement, those who are supposed
to
implement
it
did not
make
also
one
comply?
right.
So I'm trying to put out, these are questions that Nigerians have and are asking and don't understand. Because when Labour says this, the average Nigerian would say, the same government did not the communique, and nobody did anything or complain. So when Labour decides to say we are shutting down without any ultimatum, then government comes and says you were supposed to inform us first. Why does the rule apply both? Why doesn't it apply both ways? And why does it work this way? It then brings us to this. If after 14 days, this is not the first ultimatum, let me remind us. Before this communique came, there were agreements that were not implemented. There were ultimatums that were given. We're supposed to go on strike. Remember the order of us strike for October? And then Labour cancelled it. The government is now talking with us. So what would you say to Nigerians now if after this ultimatum, similar pattern plays out?
Andrew, similar pattern from all indications, based on what I know, will not play out this time around. Like I said, you push a man to the wall. He gets to the point where he needs to survive as a person. we have got to that point where self-survival has come to play. The country is actually at the pinnacle of breaking up, because when you wake up in the morning and you don't know when you're going to get the next meal, you wake up in the morning, Naira is exchanging at 800. In the evening, it will close at 1,500. You wake up in the morning, cost of loaf of bread is selling at X. In the evening, is selling at the other. We've got to that point in this country where we've got to a break-even point, and that is where labor is today. So I do not believe that these 14 days will go like you mentioned other ultimatums that have been issued in the past, because we got to that point where we must act now as a matter of right and interest for both our members and for Nigerians, because we remain now the only pressure group that can actually get the government to come back to their senses and begin to do what is right for Nigerians. So if we fail at this time, it means that the whole country has failed.
A short commercial. When we return, you tell us what expectations from government, if at all you had to suspend the indefinite strike. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Waiting they create party for mouth.
Onyefuru, TUC chairman, Rivers State, is with me in the studio, and I'm sure you've been following the conversation. So yes, on Facebook it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On WhatsApp it is 0809-030-6416. If you go on Facebook, we're talking the cost of living. As the price of commodities continue to rise, is it time for Labour to stand up? The government already, through the Minister for Labour, already saying, well, please, Labour should not consider going on a strike. And there's an ultimatum that's been issued. On the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, was when that strike is supposed to start because of failure of government to implement certain agreement in their communique that they had signed last year around October, if I'm not mistaken, when they had also given an ultimatum and threatened to go on an indefinite strike, which was later suspended as a result of the communique. And now the communique has not been implemented, and at least fully. And now this is where we are. But the cost of living, ever increasing prices of commodities, it's almost as though in every sector. The power sector is something else. I have never seen Labour, I might be wrong, but in this Rivers State at least, I have never seen Labour protest about power situation. I have never seen Labour protest to Disco's office and say, the way you are operating, we don't understand. At least give us explanations. I could tell you, I live in an area where you have power for regularly at least 12, 15 hours. For the past couple of weeks, if not from last month, we can't even boast of having power for 5 hours. And nobody is telling you what is happening. Did something change? Meanwhile, in that same place, there are other areas where they have power about 7, 8 hours. They used to have for about 20 hours, those people. Now they are talking about like just 7 hours. And nobody says anything. Nobody explains why. You just leave everybody. Telecommunication lines have been bad for some days, weeks now. Poor communication, data poor, all poor. Labour has not ever. This is where we have. When people don't trust Labour, will be these sort of issues. Like you don't hear Labour. These are other issues that are also supposed to be picked up by the union to say, what is happening? What is happening? And not just minimum wage, which is now a focus. Many people are upset with. Should Labour stand up? That's the question on Facebook. So get on Facebook, join us, and share your thoughts with us. Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Let me come back to Mr. Onyefuru. This communique now has not been signed. We're supposed to have salaries that would have been paid additional, I think 30,000 naira.
35,000.
35,000 for 6 months, I'm sure.
Yep.
That's supposed to be till March, if I'm not mistaken?
For 6 months, but only 1 month paid.
And that was not enough to get Labour to have come back and say, oh, what's happening? Now you were given this ultimatum. Before the ultimatum expires and maybe the hearts of Nigerians are broken, technically, let me ask this question on their behalf. Is Labour looking at saying, okay, even if the ultimatum expires, government calls us and says this or that, or shows us this or that, we would suspend, we would not go on the strike? Is there anything of that nature already being discussed by Labour now?
Andrew, we issued 14 days ultimatum, and the position of Labour today is that if government fails to implement the items contained in the communique we signed on the 2nd of October last year, we will embark on an indefinite strike, not warning strike, indefinite strike. That's the position.
So there's nothing that government would say during or after the ultimatum that will cause Labour to change its mind?
Andrew, if government cannot come out to do a joint inspection in Port Harcourt refinery, what can they do? We've got to a point where we need to now embark on indefinite strike. When we embark on indefinite strike, at least government, those politicians will not be able to travel from one place to the other. Economic activities will be paralyzed, so they won't have access to the funding they always have.
But what is the difference? Labour found it easy to go on this indefinite strike. I remember under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, it was quite easy. We had that indefinite strike. I could tell everybody was what is happening in Nigeria. But ever since that time, and things were not this bad. Things did not even get close to this bad. But we had that strike. So I keep wondering why Nigerians are thinking. Nigerians, if we go on social media now and begin to take questions and responses, you see a lot of people saying they wonder why Labour keeps saying this, but then we don't see the indefinite strike ever happen. So I'm asking again, is there certain things that the government could meet that would force Labour to say, well, okay, if the government, let us come back and look at it and say we're not doing this?
Andrew, if you look at the communique we signed, let's take, for example, the CNG buses they are supposed to provide. Government came and told Labour that they've imported those buses. Not to talk about the conversion kits that they're also supposed to make available for Nigerians to do the conversion. Not to talk about the points where people are filling points where people are supposed to go and get this gas. They made those promises. As we speak,
have those stations been installed?
Nothing. Even if you say you have imported vehicles, at least you have the documents to show that you actually have done. So this is very simple. You say you are going to give wage award at 5,000 and you paid for only 1 month, only October. After October, you haven't paid up to today. You are supposed to set up a committee for minimum wage review 1 month after the communication. You just set it up last week. Now, by statutory provision, that committee will not be able to complete their work, their job, before the next minimum wage review cycle.
But the government will tell you that it has set up the committee.
But it's already out of time.
So while it was taking this long, was Labour not calling the attention
of the
government?
A lot of things happen at the background that we cannot come and begin to say in public. A lot of engagement almost on a daily basis. You can't believe that. If we begin to tell people on a daily basis what to do, maybe people will not even believe us. Before we got to the point where the most strenuous job for Labour is to go on strike. It's not easy to organize strike. It takes a whole lot to organize strike. And now you're talking about nationwide strike. Let's take, for example, if you go and shut down some facilities in the oil and gas industry. There are some facilities that shut down today. If you want to bring them up tomorrow, in the next 3 months, we've not succeeded. We know what the implications are. We know what Nigerians will also be exposed to. For example, you shut down everywhere. There are Nigerians that need to wake up every morning, go out to Rumokoro market to be able to eat. And then you ground all operations. How will these people feed?
But the
Nigerians, it's a complex.
But the Nigerians now are saying, I went to the market sometime when I was much stronger, and I looked at the market, it was almost very empty.
Yeah.
And I was saying to someone like, what's happening? And I call her my second mother. And she says, I've seen it now. People don't have money to come to the market. So what you're saying that you're considering, you're looking at, Nigerians will suffer if. At the moment, are Nigerians already suffering?
We know. Or I'm just trying to get you to understand some of the constraints that Labour is faced with. Look at government that is not able to even, we agreed that they're going to stop applying VAT on diesel. As we speak, they still apply. In fact, what the government is doing is to introduce more tax against the populace. If you go to the airport, the fees you pay there now is tripled by over 300%. And a lot of taxes is being introduced every day by the same government that is not able to provide basic amenities for its citizens. So, Labour every day on a regular basis, we engage the Minister for Labour, we engage the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, we engage the National Security Advisor, we engage the President himself, we engage the Federal Ministry of Labour. If we itemize what we do on a daily basis, you won't believe it. And we've got to the point where it's now obvious that this government is insensitive, deliberately insensitive against the people, against the feelings, insensitive about the sufferings that Nigerians are subjected at this point. And Labour have come up to say, no, we now need to deploy our union might, since you are insensitive to the feelings and the sufferings of Nigerians.
But this is exactly what the problem is. This same union might is what Labour has always come up to deploy ever since under the President Buhari's administration. till this date, it has still not been able to deploy the might. And that's a concern for many Nigerians. Now, look. Let's take a few messages so you get what I'm saying. Prince David says, I think TUC and Labour should go and rest because they have failed us woefully. Can you remember when Adam Oshomola was there? Nigeria should wake up. Both the marketplace should close. Every Tom, Dick and Harry go for total shutdown. If not, we will buy a bag of rice at 100,000 naira. Enough of this. Chibundu Okoro says, Gary now 5,550 naira for 3 cups. Where are we going in this country? Ojone Justice says Nigerians will soon protest against Labour to be disbanded because they are not there for the interest of Nigerians. Point of correction, Labour is not the only means that voices of Nigerians can be heard. Labour were warned last time never to agree with federal government, but they were bribed and now they are looking for bribe again. Thank God Ability says if Bola Tinubu cannot handle the country well, he should honorable tender his resignation letter. His 9 months in office is the worst, even worse than the past administration's 4 years in office. And we'll go on and on with the messages. We'll open the phone lines 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003. Locally, here in Rivers State, off the mic, I was asking why we have not seen Labour talk about certain issues. Remember, you can call us on 0817 923 0007, 0817 923 0003. or 0817 923 0002. Why would Gary be that expensive in Rivers State and Labour hasn't said anything to the state government? We have the Ministry for Agriculture. We have agricultural programs that the government, in quotes, says it's invested money into. Why we cannot have local governments across these states? Let's even look at especially the ones where they produce these things largely. The local government chairman don't have agricultural programs that we can see, not the one that they will tell us they did, but we can't see. That Labour and Nigerians can see that this is it and farmers are going to farmer benefiting. Why we can't have fish farming being invested in. And then we have Labour in Rivers State, TUC, NLC. I have never heard, ever, correct me if I'm wrong, that Labour then protested to the government. We don't know, Gary is not supposed to be expensive in Rivers State. Fish is not supposed to be expensive in Rivers State.
Andrew, first of all, you ask yourself, what is the primary role of Labour? What is the primary role of Labour? If you are now saying that Labour should be the watchdog, Labour's primary role is job protection of our members, seeking for the welfare terms and conditions of employment of our members, and all that, as a matter of right. Then as a matter of interest, all this you are saying now can apply. Andrew, you mentioned about power issues in your location, for example. If you have power issues in your location, how am I supposed to know, as TUC chairman Rivers State, that you haven't got power in your area? Have you followed the process to even report it? Nigerians are writing in the social media. These same Nigerians are writing in the social media during the elections. They will pay them 5,000 naira. They will go and line up and vote certain candidates. The same Nigerians will receive peanuts from these politicians and go and be dancing in the market square for them. The same Nigerians. What are we talking about? We need to tell ourselves the truth. This country belongs to all of us, not to only Labour. It belongs to all of us. If Nigerians are truly sincere with themselves, for example, if Labour call out now, say, okay, everybody, come out, let us go and protest. These same guys who are writing in social media will follow politicians to come and fight Labour. When we go for protest, the last one that happened in Lagos, politicians mobilized boys, well, to come and disrupt our program. Some Nigerians are writing in the social media. We need to tell ourselves the truth. The plain truth is that we need a reorientation of heart for all Nigerians. How can few politicians hold us to ransom and we all fold our hands and beat drums for them, sing music for them, praise them, churches, mosques, praise them, give them awards, and then you think that the country will be good? This country, Labour can do nothing until Nigerians wake up to the call to take back our country. Nothing can change.
All right, I think right now Mr. Onyefuru has just really pointed it out, the fact that Labor can on its own would not be able to do anything until Nigerians also do something, which is why I pointed out the fact that we saw Nigerians in Osun State who are now beginning to get fed up with the situation and saying, okay, do this. And it's not because some Nigerians believe that Labor is the only last pressure group they have that can speak and draw the attention because of how widespread Labour is and the fact that if Labour sneezes, it affects every activity in the country. And that gives a lot of people some hope that, okay, we still have this playing card. It's not because, I don't think it's because Nigerians believe that Labour can solve all their problems, but they feel you have something that you can do that will cause everybody to say, okay, now let's look at this. And I think it's basically why a lot of Nigerians still and get upset when Labour then goes and doesn't use that card the way it ought to. Let's take a few calls. We'll start with Buguma. George is calling from there. Good morning, Buguma.
Yes,
George.
Andrew, I want to greet you first and the guests in the studio. I want to say that the guests in your studio are the Labour representatives should not in any way try to defend Labour. Because we remember the era of Adams Oshomole and the proactive leadership of Adams Oshomole as of then. You understand? Nobody put blames in the era of Adams Oshomole on Nigerians. You understand? Now, the mother of all protests for days, the recent one, you saw how the Labour succumbed at the end of the day to the federal government. They used other injunctions to stop them several times. You remember that several times in this country, the Labour in this country has played to the gallery. They don't stand firm to Nigerians. Now, how do you expect Nigerians to continue to believe Labour? I am telling you that until Labour stand up, it is not until Nigerians stand up. It is Labour that will make Nigeria believe that, yes, they are there for the masses. But the today Labour, you can see, the last time the Labour president was beaten up here in Imo State. It can't happen in the era of Adams Oshomole. It was because they have ridiculed themselves to the ground. I am telling you the gospel truth. What is happening today? Go to the market. Some few days ago, my senior sister, somebody who I don't think that will call me to say that I should really help her for anything was crying, telling me how things are in the market. You remember last week, one of your correspondents was reading out the cost of items in the market. That price of bag now sold for 75,000. Everything skyrocketed to the point that
all right, George.
You can begin to imagine how old people in the village,
George.
How people you left, your family people far and close, how they manage. It is so pathetic. I said, Nigerian Labour should stand on their ground so that we can believe them. If not, I don't think we are taking them serious anymore.
JJ, good morning.
Yes, Andrew, good morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
And let me greet your guest in the studio.
Thank you very much, JJ. Nice to hear your voice.
Andrew, some days back, you interviewed what they call Assistant Inspector General of Police, right? Good. And after that day, there was an interview on the police commissioner here, Tunde Diso, right? Remember? And they all blame Nigerians. Oh, the IGP said Nigerians cannot take up arms. They cannot defend themselves. The police here said, we are responsible for our deal. The same thing, Labour is coming to tell us now. What crime has Nigerians committed? Was it Nigerians that they asked for a price or that they will see for 511? Meanwhile, fuel is selling for almost 700 naira. Now, were you not the people who went there to rescue Nigerians and they told you this price? Meanwhile, they have passed everything. Are you now giving ultimatum because you learned that they are giving 1.4 billion to negotiate as committee and you want to be part of the agenda or something? I don't get it at all. Everybody that comes, when it comes to the issue, blame Nigeria, the police, the armed forces, everybody blames. Even one is telling, I think one general said that Nigeria should defend themselves. Defend themselves with what now? I'm concerned, if you know that Nigerian destiny that will take in their hands, don't even give ultimatum. We don't even care about you anymore. What are you negotiating that at the end of the day you blame Nigerians and you are pushing yourself forward on Nigerians? Are you pushing yourself on Nigerians and fall back to blame Nigerians? I beg, won't allow us rest.
Chima from Ada George.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
Yes, Andrew. I don't know why Nigerians are antagonizing labor. Because for me, I do not think labor is the only one who is affected here. Nigerians fold their hands and do nothing. Then expect labor to be the one at the forefront. What are Nigerians doing? You understand? The man has said it all. Somebody after 4 years in one election will leave you to suffer. Then on the election day, he comes and give you 5,000. You collect. You understand? Be jumping up and down. Then what do you expect labor to do? I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Nigeria must know that they have the responsibility to be able to come out. The people that are protesting in other various northern countries, labor union, they came out. They were talking about the hardship, and I was watching the clip. Are they labor? So why will Nigeria fold our hands? Then you expect labor to be the one every time. Labor every time. What are you doing? Is this not cause area? Let me stop there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Chima. Some messages on WhatsApp. Let's see if I just touch on a few of them as we attempt to wrap things up. Hope whichever measure adopted by federal government and military servants and civil servants will be implemented by the state government immediately. Almost every other state has started paying 35,000 naira wage award, even as some are not paying up to such amount. Why is nothing happening here in the state? Victor, greetings. This one says, I must tell you for free that the NLC and TUC will not yield any tangible result. The masses, as a matter of concern, is totally disappointed. Andrew, let's watch and observe. Same thing applies to refineries. They promise working. I rest my case. Minimal Priye sent in that message. Let's quickly just get as a wrap up. Mr. Onyefuru, you heard a few of the callers, some of the messages were taken, and how they feel about the situation, and well, so is there something that's different about this time? A court order was even issued. I think Femi Falana had gone to court, and a court order came for the government to reverse the rising cost of price, the problem with the refineries, and some other issues were mentioned in that order. And well, this is what it is.
Andrew, thank you very much. Let me first of all thank all the callers and all the comments we received. Labor feels the pain of Nigerians. Andrew, what you see, the reaction you see is real. Even me sitting here, Andrew, I buy from the same market. I use the same electricity. We pay the same school fees. We're exposed to the same environment. The pause today, in fact, I expected worse than what we've even seen today. I actually expected bashing from Nigerians because they are right to do that. Why are they right? They are right because they want to see result. They want to see a country that is working. And now, it's not working. Not just that it's not working, it's getting worse. What do you expect from Nigeria? What kind of reaction? So, we want to appeal to Nigerians to still trust labor. Nigerians may not know what labor does at the back end to ensure that there is even control. I can assure you, Andrew, if there's no labor, we'll have been buying fuel at over 1,000 naira a litre. If there's no labor, a lot of things will have happened that will be at the detriment of Nigerians. But because we still hedge these things at the back end without making noise about them, people don't get to know. It's only when we get to the point where it becomes obvious that we need to take action that people know. And then, for example, you ask a question here and say, okay, at what point, this ultimatum now, at what point is labor going to say, okay, government have done something, let us suspend it. You ask that question. Now, Andrew, if as we speak today, we get to Abuja and see 500 CNG buses, see 50,000
Unfortunately,
conversion.
time will not allow you to respond to this because we have to go for a commercial now. Thank you very much.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Mom's love is pure. It's so no she does. Mom's special, puts a smile on